Half a day to your Wami and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is July 3rd, 2018. In a recent report by U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission, China's investment activities in the CNMI is reported as a potential complication to the U.S. Department of Defense plans in the CNMI. Hee-Jae Lee has this report.
The U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission, created by the United States Congress, reports that China is deeply involved in the Pacific region and that Chinese investors' casino resort developments could complicate U.S. Department of Defense plans in the CNMI. To this concern, Office of the Governor assures us that the administration takes the matter of national security very seriously.
Being at the border, and as I mentioned before, being at the border and being a part of the tip of the spear for the Pacific, we take the United States' national security concerns really seriously. Over the last 3 years alone, we haven't had a stronger relationship with the Department of Defense as a Commonwealth ever.
This report also points out that China has become one of the major players in the region in the areas of trade, development, and tourism, and that in the past 4 years, Chinese companies have ramped up their investments into the CNMI. The governor's press secretary, Kevin Bautista, explains that the administration's priority is to secure U.S. investments, but despite the efforts to attract American investors, there just isn't enough incentives for them in the CNMI.
It's because we live in a place where we have geographical and political barriers, where economic viability is hard to come by, where we're getting literally crumbs off the global market table. We want more U.S. investments. But who's going to come, and goes back to the whole question of economic viability. Who's going to try and come to the Marianas 8,000 miles away when there's a market for them and they don't have an incentive to invest here in the Marianas? Even though the governor and the administration has made every possible effort to invest, to attract American investments first.
Chinese businesses owing close to $4 million in back wages and damages to more than 2,400 employees and filling up the CW visa spots, Congressman Kilili is concerned beyond the matter of national security that the Chinese influence seeps deep into the community and into the government officials.
I think it could be a threat to things even broader, more larger than military activities. They have a large influence on the community, on the government, on government officials. Only the very oblivious cannot see that. And I don't think that people are that oblivious.
Governor Torres explains that the CNMI is not just opening its doors to Chinese investors, but to everyone who wishes to invest.
We welcome every country. We're not specifically say, well, we want Chinese here or Chinese money. No, it's open, it's free market. You come in and we treat you just like everybody else. How is that different? Maybe because now there's categories again because it's Chinese, because now they're stronger than they have been in the last 10 years. And they have one of the biggest companies here on island.
While Governor Torres and the administration is welcoming everyone who is willing to invest, Congressman Kilili is concerned that in times of need, there is a temptation to bend over backwards to give people who do not have the best interest of the Commonwealth what they want.
And I am also concerned about the large investments, promises also that are being made that are not kept, and at a time when we have many needs, there is also a large temptation to take care of those needs by bending backwards and letting people who are not exactly acting in the Commonwealth's best interests get what they want.
Governor's Press Secretary Bautista says that we can't say no when we have to put food on the table, and that's how the government works.
By virtue of the economic viability of our region, we can't say no when we need to put food on the table. That goes back to the human element of how government works and how we are trying to tailor our economic agenda so we can get people off the dark days.
Bautista adds that the administration's priority is to focus on investments and infrastructure planning that leads to high-paying jobs to improve the lives of people who call this place home.
The administration's economic policies have been focused on investments and infrastructure planning. that can lead to the creation of high-paying jobs so that residents can now have more disposable income, then they can then achieve even greater levels of success, like what the governor mentioned. And the biggest, most important, paramount priority of this administration is not economic growth. It's not economic. It's economic stability and improving the lives of people who call these islands home.
Reporting for KSPN2 News, I'm Hee Lee.